excuses for our tardiness. Deb toots. Sorry I'm late. Neb shit. Was looking in my car. Then a pad bus cut me off and I went 10 miles an hour and had to find a different parking spot because old Miss Schlinsky had those damn Jaeger bushes. She inhales again. Didn't G yet? Alright. Let's make some turkey. She crosses her arms and smiles at the brunette tizzy that is my mother. Let me read up here and we'll get a sandwich. I listen, half fascinated, half distracted, to my mother's foreign-sounding voice as she offers excuses to my aunt, Debbie, or Schnebby, as is my mom's way of saying. That's what they call her. We've only been back to her hometown now for a couple of days, and already her accent has returned to that soft, nasally twang that she abandoned at Cornell after some cute upperclassman mocked her for pronouncing, well, she pronounced it Washington, D.C.
Oh, no.
Well, yeah, we're waiting at Aunt Debbie's house for her husband, Bud, my sister's brother. He's job scouting now, having been recently laid off at the old factory downtown. It was the type of factory job that embodied a steely lushness of American industry, shrouded lushness of American belching smokestacks that, you know, span the type of factory job that you can get from Pittsburgh, right? It's a steely lushness of America, okay? Industry. But that span, that skyline wraps. Now, listen, it wraps now. It wraps. It's not merely the industry that's been forgotten, but workers like Bud, my uncle, who trudges home with cardboard storage boxes tucked under his arms, their fingernails still outlined by the dirt of the day. The house is an oversized study with a sepia-hued 1954 armchair and a desk overflowing with endless bits of paper and receipts gum-banded together here and there to create a sort of mothball-scented order that only makes sense in psych wards and snow globes. Most houses in Pittsburgh are fashioned this way. You listen to me. Most houses in Pittsburgh are fashioned this way. Alright? They're embracing a perpetual phase of disrepair. A small kitchen still designed with blue and white marbled 50s countertops that have bits of petrified bread dough cemented between the silver-rimmed edges. I think when my mother first moved to Florida, part of her reveled in her escape from this familiar grunge, and part of her mourned the sterility and white space in Windex. As my mother's voice and her sister-in-law's become background to these thoughts, Their words turned to static, inflected by the back and forth camaraderie of turkey sandwich making. I try to imagine how this place must make my mother feel now. A lifetime later, does part of her miss the celebrity of being the youngest daughter of a famous surgeon? Dr. James Carr was one of the best respected surgeons in the whole fucking city. He would smoke a Marlboro Red as he hoisted children onto his examining table, anchoring a stethoscope within his hairy ear canal and positioning his tomahawk reflex hammer above yellow, bruised knee joints. He cursed and spat and called my mom a fat shit for most of her adolescence. But neighbors, friends, and strangers would stop her on the streets to tell her how her father had saved Betty's cousin's boyfriend's life on Tuesday. Did she know what a saint her father was? I see a coldness hanging in the gap between my mother and Pittsburgh as a wintry estrangement from childhood. Sometimes after family dinners in Pittsburgh, over a couple glasses of wine, I can see my mother reach out to hug this place again. She'll smile, her rose-blushed cheeks rising to tickle her lower eyelashes, and tell me about the bridges, the endless Dr. Seuss and Escher-esque like stairways streets turn into when the hills go too steep to hold a road, and how the houses have generations of tacky, no attempt to match up, added on porches and rooms, sometimes hanging on stilts over a cliff, sometimes, and Chelsea, the romantic churches, that dwarf, the rundown road houses, and the sweat into what they hoped would be a better day in those cathedrals. Her eyes are always far away when she says this, like she's trying to figure out the hidden image in a magic eye stereogram. This monologue and the wine and dinner that sustain it follow a day in the city's outskirts. Follow a day in the city's extended family and their loping dogs. It's on these days of family reunions and sticky watermelon that my mother's brothers exhibit their manliness by shooting off Uncle Billiam's potato gun into the woods and cutting down large trees that they'll burn for heat later that night. These activities commence at noon, accompanied by all-day barbecuing and bottle after bottle of Emerald Rolling Rock. My mother will shoot sarcastic, "Oh, the humanity," eye rolls at my father, who smokes a cigar nonchalantly on the porch. But I think underneath these self-conscious glances, she takes pride in her brothers, these wise fools that they are. The faint smell of the fresh bread my mother and Debbie are slicing remind me of the summer after my grandfather died. How my mother would take me running in the morning through the belching, wheezing, pockmarked streets of McKee's Rocks in Pittsburgh. We jogged to the north side, the Catholic cemetery, overlooking the pollution-fogged bubble of downtown. In it, all in a row, are buried my brother, Daniel, my grandfather, his mother and father, my grand-aunt and uncle. I remember her crouching down gingerly. I'm gonna just go to the end of this, because, sorry, this is really gratuitous. Remembering that day as I sit in my aunt's nook of a kitchen and watch the two women making lunch, I realize that my mother is very much like Pittsburgh itself. Sweat-stained with the effort of just being okay, beautiful in its stubbornly maintained mystery. While Pittsburgh grates along, smelling of burnt leaves and sawdust and morning rain showers, my mother holds back years of herself, resigning herself to the present and keeping from me the things that would ever make us more than just a mother and daughter. It is a city of steel-blooded bleeding hearts, labyrinthine alleyways, and year-round ice mud. She would chuckle if I were to compare her to a city so at one with its own tackiness, so comfortably gray. Yet somehow Pittsburgh is my mother. Pittsburgh is me. It's in the parts of us that are connected because when we're here, we understand each other. Like strangers in a hospital waiting room. We might only understand each other in passing, but that's the way we like it. At least for now.